The version of it would be Mitchell County State Bank and the American State Bank both merged in 1922, which then formed the Guaranty State Bank. So we have been in existence for 93 years. I have grown up, actually I grew up in Tipton. So I just moved 30 miles here. Started working here in '82, a year out of college. Now I'm telling my age. But been here for 33 years, so I have seen how technology has improved over those years, to where we just had a dummy PC, which couldn't do anything other than look up balances and do our processing for us. And at the time, we were in-house processing, so we did everything here. Now, because we've grown so much and the requirements that were there for keeping all of your servers updated and the patch managements on them and everything, the cost of it, we opted to start doing it off-site. So in 2011, we have partnered with FIS, which is the leading core vendor out there in the industry, to do our processing for us. So we connect to them. That's how we get all of our information as far as doing updates on customers' accounts. So we use that for our processing side. On the network side of it, that's where Computer Solutions came in, and then eventually Nex-Tech. So we've been with them for 30 plus years.
Guaranty State Bank goes back to a long-standing relationship with Computer Solutions. Prior to them owning branches in Burr Oak and Esbon and Smith Center, we did business with them when they had locations in Beloit and Jewell. And we provided desktop, notebook, server, Ethernet connectivity for their data within those two buildings. And that relationship's been long-standing, and it's still good today.
Fiber optic connection for our Smith Center, Esbon, and Burr Oak locations. And we also use Nex-Tech to do all of our third-party vendor management, whereas the patch management, backup for the network, setting up group policies on the network, doing all of that side of it. I was never trained on the technology side, but I'm learning as we go. So
it will always change.
It will always change. I'm wondering, what's it going to be like in another 5 to 10 years? I've been here for 30 plus years to see everything that's changed. We used to have this large CPU that was as big as my desk and as tall as I am. And now we're going down to small little units that can process all this information. It just is mind-boggling, and to see how it's all progressing. We provide the mobile banking and the online banking for the customer because they want 24/7 access. And we want to be wherever they are. We want to go where they go. We want to provide the service for them when they want it. So online banking was first, but then when the cell phone started getting to be used like your actual computer is, they wanted to be able to use it all the time. So then we started offering mobile banking. We also have the mobile deposit. So now a customer does not actually have to come into the bank. They can make their deposits with their phone. If you have cash now, actually you'd have to come in to the bank to make your deposit with cash, but otherwise you can just take a snap a picture of your check, deposit it to us electronically, the next day it's in your account, you're good to go. A lot of consumers have been worried about the security. The security on the phone is just as secure as it is on your computer. And even our security levels here at the bank. We make sure that with the company we're using, they have been scrutinized on security so heavily by the FFEIC that they are then following all the guidelines that they need to be following, just as well as all other core vendors do. But we want to make sure the customers know this is safe and secure. The assurance plan, the tech assurance plan, and then we also have our Shoretel phone system. So we have voice over IP with all of our locations. So it's just like making a local call to Smith Center, Esbon, Burr Oak, Jewell, our loan production office in Rossville. It's just making that local call instead of a long distance call and tying up your phone line. So that has really helped us. The fiber optic connectivity has really sped up the connection between us and Smith Center and Esbon and Burr Oak. It's very vital that we have that connection as well. So Nex-Tech has played a large part in our technology side.
So when the type of services we offered at Computer Solutions included, like I just mentioned, desktop and servers and Ethernet switching, the routing, those sorts of things. We also installed a phone system for them. And the main goal there was they had multiple locations, right? They had a location in Jewel, and then they also acquired the locations in Burr Oak and Esbon. And they wanted to be able to effectively communicate between locations without having to call long distance all the time. So we set up a phone system that enabled them to use the internet to dial across and talk, have conference calls, and those sorts of things. And so then we added voice to the data realm that we provide for them. In addition to the Ethernet connectivity for internet and those sorts of things and the voice and the data, we also do critical backup for them on a regular basis. And we have appliances and locations that allow us to back up all their data that they currently house in-house. And if there's a disaster, they can quickly recover that data, be back up and working in a matter of hours, actually. Minutes if they want to.
The assurance plan, the tech assurance plan, and then we also have our Shoretel phone system. So we have voice over IP with all of our locations. So it's just like making a local call to Smith Center, Esbon, Broke, Jewel, our loan production office in Rossville. It's just making that local call instead of a long distance call and tying up your phone line. So that has really helped us. The fiber optic connectivity has really sped up the connection between us and Smith Center and Esbon and Baroque. It's very vital that we have that connection as well. So Nex-Tech has played a large part in our technology side. I can just call up to Smith Center and talk to Sheila as if she's right in the next office. It's just that simple and clear, and she's right there.
Awesome. So you feel like it improved with the fiber optic?
It has. It has really improved. Having it going through our network system anymore, I look at the phone, I'm thinking, what buttons do I need to push now? I'd rather do it on the computer. Do my voicemails, everything on the computer.
Awesome.
So it's been very handy. It was a learning curve. When we put those phones in place was also when we converted over to outsourcing to FIS. So we not only had to learn a new phone system, we also had to learn a new core system as far as our accounts for customers. You know, just learning how to look up a customer's account and getting all the information we needed off of there, or our general ledger or loans. Everything had changed completely for us. So a lot of us that had been here for years, it was such a learning curve for us. But then the younger ones that were here, they had just caught on to everything so quick. They were more or less teaching us older ones. There was an instance when our antivirus system had thought a patch it put out there was actual, and I may not be saying this right, but it thought it was a virus. And so it was disabling our PCs for us. I mean, we could not log in and use our computers. And I mean, that was frantic. But as soon as we contacted Nex-Tech, and we weren't the only ones affected by it. Whoever was using Panda Antivirus was dealing with the same issue. So because we have our Gold Assurance plan, we were taken care of immediately. So it was the matter of restoring a lot of files and getting everything back to where it was before that update was done. So I can say without a doubt, I was so thrilled to have them on as our vendor, because we were taken care of immediately, and we were back up and running by probably 10 o'clock that day. You know, there are times that you lose connection and you have to deal with it. Sometimes the internet may go down, and a lot of our daily routine is based on internet. Mm-hmm. And it is. Although our core system is through a T1 line, we still have connection with that if our internet should go down. But we use that a lot for wire services, sending out cash letters, all of that. You need the internet for it. The investment centers needs the internet. So Nex-Tech plays a vital part in that.
You know, most people don't think about what life would be like if I lost my pictures until they lose their pictures. And then they think, what in the world am I going to do now? You know? And then on the business side, it's even more critical. So if I lose all of my accounting data, what am I going to do? You know, I can go back and use the pencil and piece of paper, but it would take me weeks and months to do that. And so it just makes sense if you have to pay a little bit every month to get your data back up to do that. It's all automated, and that's the beauty of it, is that once it's set up, then it works by itself. It really does. You get alerts that if something goes wrong in a particular file or a particular server has an issue, you get an email and you know about it, and then we can look into it and correct it. But it's automated, it's set up on a schedule based on how the customer wants it. So if they want it, their whole server backed up every hour, we can do that. Or we can just back up a PC, a notebook, or a server once a day, once a week if you want. And then our services allow us to send that to a secure data center offsite. So like Nex-Tech houses data centers in both Russell and Victoria. And that data then is sent to those data centers encrypted so nobody else can see it. And then it's replicated between those two locations. And so you have multiple copies of your server at multiple locations. And so if something happens locally right where you're at, say there's a fire or something and the server is destroyed, you can actually get at your data and you can log into your data in our data centers with the solution we're providing. So from a network security standpoint, there are several different layers that have to be in place in which a bank in that banking industry is audited on to make sure that they're putting everything possible in place to protect themselves and their customers from the bad guys who are trying to get at that information. So starting from the outside in, you have a firewall at the internet connectivity, right? So we bring internet connectivity to all their branches, and then we have a physical firewall, a hardened appliance that sits on the network, and all their traffic comes in and out that firewall before it hits the bank or before it leaves the bank. And it's scanned for viruses, for malware, for spyware, for intrusions, people trying to get into the network, right? Then once it gets past the network, then you have security at the PC and server level. So we have products installed that also run on each individual machine looking for the same sorts of activity. That if it, for some reason it could get past the firewall if it's deeply embedded. I mean, these firewalls that we do, they have what they call deep packet inspection. What that means is it's looking at every packet going in and out. So the likelihood of something getting in is very rare. But what could happen is, and I've seen this happen, I've heard of this happen, a bank as a promotion will get a jump drive and say, hey, there's a program on here you might like to see. It might help you. They plug it into their computer. Unknowns to them, they're installing malware on their computer that then's running, harvesting information, and sending it out the internet to whoever the bad guys are, right? So you have protection on your PC, on your server, for something unintentionally coming in from inside your own network, right? So we provide that type of security for banks, insurance companies, all kinds of different small business.
Almost every business needs
right.
some level of it.
They do. And the more levels you have, the better off you are. But in banking specifically, like I said, they are audited to make sure that they are compliant with several different regulations that are out there that guide what they can and can't do on their networks. And a lot of it is end user understanding and end user training that we talk about a lot with our customers is, okay, I get an email, is that legitimate or not? Because it could be what we call spear phishing, right? Somebody sends you an email and says, hey, click on this link because this has information that pertains to you, when in fact it doesn't. But you click on the link and install some program on your computer. There again, that's why you need local protection on a local machine installed as well.